I mean, I don't know where to begin. I'm so lucky to have made so many of these videos over the years where I'm like, I get to do this amazing thing and this is me announcing it. I feel like especially lucky to be making this one. When you leave a show, you kind of have to accept that that's that chapter ending. You kind of have to accept that that may be the last time you're ever in that show. And that's your journey coming to an end with that particular production. But I'm starting to get the impression that Les Mis and I will never be finished with each other. So it all started in a galaxy far, far away. It all started when I think my mum won tickets to see the show at the Palace when I was like 3 years old. She won in a competition and took me, and I fell asleep before Act 1 had even finished, and I think my mum had to take me home in the interval, and that was for the 10th anniversary of Les Miserables. But that was the beginning of my love affair with that musical. I used to listen to the soundtrack, the 10th anniversary soundtrack, desperately wishing I was Lea Salonga playing Eponine. I fell in love with Michael Ball as Marius. I just wished so deeply that I could be a part of it. And then when I was 7, that wish came true and I got to play young Eponine at the Palace Theatre in London's West End. And it was me with lots of other kids playing the same role. We would share the role of young Eponine, and I would do like 2 shows a week, and then the next Eponine would do 2 shows, and then the next Eponine would do 2 shows, and then I would be back, and we'd sort of alternate throughout the week, because them's the rules when you're kids. You can't do 8 shows a week when you're a child. And that was my first taste of professional theatre. I was only 7, I was very, very young, and I was very lucky to have been part of Les Mis as my first production. Like, that's unreal. Then when I was 16, I was invited to audition for Harrow School's production of Les Miserables. They had like a big 400-seat theatre called the Ryan Theatre, and I was the only girl from my school who auditioned because I'm obsessed with Les Mis, and so any chance for me to be part of it, I wanted to. And I got the role of Eponine, and I was like, this is amazing, this is the best. And I've got so many fond memories from being in that production. Then came the big leagues. Then I was signed to Curtis Brown Acting Agency when I was 20 years old, and they said to me, what are some of your dream roles that you would want to play? And I said Doctor Who's companion and Eponine, and they said, well, Les Mis is about to start casting for their next cast change, so let's get you in for Eponine. I had a couple other musical theatre auditions around that time that I was unsuccessful in, but then I went in for Eponine, and each time I got a bit further along the process, I was like, okay, well, if this is the end of the road for me in this audition process, then at least I can say I sang in front of the director. At least I can say I sang in front of the director and the musical director and a whole host of other people on the panel. At least I can say I then did a workshop with the director on the stage of the Queen's next to the barricades. At least I can say that I sang in front of Cameron Mackintosh. Okay, this is all getting a bit real now. And then I got the call to say that they'd offered me the role of Eponine. And that was like the dream come true, because Eponine was like the holy grail of roles for me when I was a child. Like, I played young Eponine, and ever since then I was like, I'm desperate to come back and play the older version of the role that I played when I was 7. And so for that to actually happen, that was a big deal. That was like the dream of all dreams. And I played Eponine for 2 years and 8 months at the Queen's. I was there for the 30th anniversary, and I got to be part of that whole celebration. I got to sing with Patti LuPone and Rachel Angot and Frances Ruffelle, like a little bit too much for my tiny brain to handle. And then I left the Queen's on February the 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, 2016, and I thought, that's it, that's the end of my journey with Les Mis. Maybe in like 30 years I'll come back and play Madame T. I was just kind of sure that that was the end of the road. Then I got a call at the end of 2016 saying they're opening Les Mis in Dubai at the Royal Opera House and they are interested in you playing Eponine. Thoughts? And I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. And it was the new production of Les Mis without the Revolve that I'd never even seen, let alone been a part of. So that was just a whole new element of excitement to the show. So before I knew it, I was on a plane to Dubai to do 24 more performances of Eponine in a whole new production with a whole new cast. And then it got to the end of that run and I was like, okay, I'm sure that's got to be the end now of my journey with the show, because I've been lucky enough to be in it 3 times now, 4 if you count Harrow School's production, but professionally I've been in it 3 times now, and that's a lot. Like, I'm very lucky. So surely that's the end of that chapter now. Never gets any easier saying goodbye. Whew. Oh, and it's such a sad show as well. It doesn't make it any easier on any of us. And I was right in a way, because that was the end of my chapter with Eponine. But then over the last couple of years, I've been like, I'd love to play Fantine one day. I wonder what it'd be like to play Fantine. That would be pretty cool. I put I Dreamed a Dream on my album that I recorded at the beginning of last year, and tried to do like a new take on it. If you want to listen to that, I'll put a link below. And I did sort of like a new arrangement and a new version of the song, and then this whole new dream started to begin where I was like, oh, Fantine. I'd love to play Fantine one day. You know, I'm kind of at the right age now. I'm 26 and Fantine dies when she's 28, so I'm kind of around the same age. This whole new dream began a couple years ago where I was like, Fantine would be pretty cool. That would be awesome. And then I got a call around Christmas time last year saying that they're taking Les Mis to the Gielgud for a concert version of the show. They were aware that I'd played Eponine a lot, more than your average human, and would I be interested in auditioning for the role of Fantine? And I was like, hold the phone. Hold the phone. Hang on a second. You're gonna need to give me a minute to process this. You're telling me that I actually have a chance of being in Les Mis a 4th time as a whole new role? That's, again, too much for my tiny mind to handle. Too much. So I had to go in and sing in front of Cameron Mackintosh at his offices on the 4th of January. So like, we're barely into the new year now. Like, we're barely, 2019 is 4 days old. And I'm stood in front of Cameron Mackintosh in his very gorgeous boardroom. And he's like, just sing it how you'd sing it at home. Just sing I Dreamed a Dream how you'd sing it at home. Like, just want to hear how it sounds in your voice. And I was like, this is a lot. This is a lot right now. Cameron Mackintosh is just sat in front of me and asking me to sing I Dreamed a Dream. Casual. On the outside, bear in mind, I'm like, of course, Mr. Mackintosh, absolutely. Inside, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I start singing. I don't think I've ever been so nervous in my life. It was a lot. I was terrified. But Sir Cameron Mackintosh, super lovely, super chill, and I get to the end of the song, and he does a little one of those. And I was like, oh, that's a good sign. And he says to me, I've heard all I need to hear, now I just need to make it happen. And he gives me a hug, and I go on my way, and then I cry the whole way down the road because that's too much for one Fletcher to handle. That was a lot. And then I get an email 2 days later when I'm sat with Becky Locke and Sophie Isaacs. We're having tapas. It's a very lovely evening. And then I just casually check my emails, and I've got an email from my agent to say that they've offered me the role of Fantine. Cue me bursting into tears again. So yeah, that's happening. I will be playing Fantine at the Gielgud Theatre for 16 weeks from the 10th of August to the 30th of November. And alongside me, casually, are Alfie Boe playing Jean Valjean and John Owen Jones, who will be performing as Jean Valjean for 3 shows a week. Michael Ball, who was Marius in the version that I grew up with, he is now playing Javert. Michael Ball also played my father in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, so it'll be a little reunion, which I'm very excited about. Matt Lucas, who will be playing Thénardier, and Mr. Matt Lucas and I are patrons of the same musical theatre academy, Sharp Academy, so that's lovely that we get to work together. And Katie Seacombe will be reprising her role as Madame Thénardier. She was my Madame Thénardier, my mum, for a year at the Queen's. So I'm so excited. It's crazy. It's crazy. Life is crazy. My life in particular is extremely crazy. Tickets go on sale tomorrow. I will put all the links under this video if you would like to come along and watch. It's gonna be great. I hope, I think, I dream. Ah, dear. I'm now gonna go look at Twitter, at everyone's reactions, and have a bit of a cry, I think.